I'm going to show you some of the graphic design tools you can use to edit images in Google Slides. We'll look at some basic editing tools such as resizing, rotating, cropping, masking images, adding a border, and then what the format options are for an image, and then how to do layers using order, and then how to center the image on a page. Start with an image to work with. We have two dogs here, and we'll start off by looking at resizing. So you got a couple of ways. First, have to select the image by clicking on it. You'll notice little blue dots coming up. If you grab the corner dot and move it down, you'll see it proportionally changes the image. So it'll look the same, but just smaller or bigger. If you hold the shift key, if you hold the control key down and do it, it'll proportionally change the image, but it'll go in from the side so it'll stay centered in the same area that it's in. If you go from the side and move the slide in, it'll change the proportions of the image to make it smaller, and vice and the same with moving from the top, moving in. If you want to rotate an image, you have a small little handle here that allows you to rotate. You notice you'll see the degree change as you're rotating it around. You can also right-click on the image and choose the rotation where you can rotate by 90 clockwise by 90 degrees or counterclockwise 90 degrees, and you can flip it horizontally and vertically. Often I find myself flipping things horizontally when I want things to look like they're changing directions. I can also choose those up under Arrange, and I have the same options here. To crop an image means to cut out parts of it. I'm going to double click on the image, and I'm going to get these little black bars. And the black bars let me crop off parts of it. If I go from the corner, I can crop off once again vertically so that I'm only left with that part of the image. Go from the side, I can cut off parts of the image I want to get rid of. You notice that the image is still there, so you can always double click on the image and see the parts you cut off, and you can put those back in by, or parts of them back in by simply moving the bar again. If you hold the control key down, it'll crop coming of the same all the way around, so you can center in on just what parts of the image you want to center in. You can also, under crop, you can use the mask an image, and you can choose a shape by clicking under crop and then choosing mask image. Choose a shape and to make the image fit. So I put it like in a circle, or I can put it in a star, or so on. Okay, the other thing that's really useful is just adding a border. Selecting the image, you can choose the border here, the weight of it. So I can add the border. I can change the color of the border choosing here, so a different color border, and I can change the type of border. I can also, under Format, go and change border and lines, and I have similar things: border weight, color, border type, which is kind of interesting. You can do, like I said, double border. Or I can choose like a thick, thin, thick, which you can see easier if you make it a little bigger. You get this effect where you have a thicker outside line and thinner inside line. So you can do a lot of different things changing it. You have even more control if you click on the image and you go under Format options. And here you can be very specific on what you want. You can change the to make it exactly what angle you want specifically. You can also change the size of it by inches. So if you make it a specific size, you can do the scale. And if you click the lock aspect ratio, if you change the that will change. If you change one, like the width, it'll also change the height proportionally. You can put it in a specific location. This is from the top left. You can recolor. Don't use this a lot, but it's kind of a fun thing to play around with for doing picture adjustments. You can adjust transparency, so if you want a more transparent image, or change the brightness, contrast. You can add a drop shadow, and you can add a reflection. So that gives you some other ways you can adjust the image. Now, if you have more than one image, you can change the order of how things come in on the how things are layered on the page. So the way that it works in most graphing programs is you're able to see what the layers are. In Google Slides, you can't see the layers, but you can keep track of them pretty easily. When you bring an image into Google Slides, it comes in on the bottom layer, and then the next image is on the top of that, next image on top of that. So if I look at my 3 images here, I put this one on top of here. This layer, this image of the dog is the image of the dog with the hair is on the layer below the image of the dog in the crown. And same thing here with the 2 dogs. This is my order. This is layer 1, 2, and 3. So you can change those orders, and there's various things you can do with it. So like, for example, if I would like to have this image, or this image to be at the back, so let's just stack them up, and we're going to resize them a little bit. So hit this on this size, so we can kind of stack them up. If for some reason I would like this to be at the back, I can go up under Arrange, Order. I got 2 options. I can send it backward, that'll send it back 1 layer, or I can send it to the back, which will put it all the way to the back layer. So let's move these around so we can see what happens with them when I do this. So let's start with this one. If I send it back, change the order, and send it backward, now it's in the second layer. This is at the top, this is behind it, but this is still my back layer. If I go order and I send it back one more time all the way to the back, now this one is my back layer. And so I can kind of keep track of which one goes where by putting them on, by moving the layers. Okay, finally, if I want to center on the page, I got a good option. Just right clicking. I can center an image horizontally or vertically, or both. I can do both. I can put that one right in the center of the page. So that shows you a few things you can do. Simple thing. Google Slides is actually a pretty robust graphic design tool for what students will use.